When Daniel Harper unlocked his front door that night, he expected silence. He expected emptiness. He expected the quiet loneliness he had grown used to ever since becoming a single father. What he did not expect was to walk into his bedroom and find the maid asleep in his bed. At first, anger burned in his chest. By morning, that anger would turn into something no one saw coming. And what Daniel would discover before sunrise wouldn't just change her life, it would force him to confront the truth about his own. Stay with this story because what he uncovers behind that closed door will shock everyone. Daniel Harper had never planned to come home early. Business trips were easier than being home. Hotels didn't remind him of the empty chair at the dinner table. Board meetings didn't ask him why mommy wasn't coming back. Airports didn't echo with the sound of his 8-year-old daughter Lily crying herself to sleep. But that night, the conference ended ahead of schedule. Daniel caught the late flight home, thinking he would surprise Lily in the morning. It had been 3 years since his wife passed away. 3 long years of trying to be both mother and father, of packing lunches awkwardly, of missing school events because of emergency meetings, of promising a next time. That was why he had hired Maria. Maria was quiet, efficient, and respectful. She had worked for the family for nearly a year, cooking, cleaning, helping Lily with homework when Daniel couldn't be there. Daniel barely spoke to her beyond polite instructions. She kept her distance. He kept his walls high. It was nearly midnight when he unlocked the front door. The house was dark, strangely dark. No hallway lamp, no kitchen light, nothing. Daniel frowned. He stepped quietly inside, placing his briefcase down. Lily should have been asleep in her room. Maria usually stayed late only on Fridays. He walked upstairs, loosening his tie. Then he saw it. The light in his bedroom was on. His pulse quickened. He moved closer, his jaw tightening. He pushed the door open and froze. Maria was lying in his bed, asleep, curled on her side under his white duvet. Her shoes were off. Her face looked pale and exhausted. One hand clutched the edge of the pillow as if holding on to something in her dreams. Daniel felt heat rush through his body. How dare she? This was not just a bed. This was the last place he had slept beside his wife. The last place he had felt safe. No one entered this room. No one touched it. He stepped forward sharply. Maria. She didn't stir. Maria. His voice was firmer now. She jerked awake, confusion clouding her face. For a moment she looked terrified, like someone caught in a crime. It's her. I'm so sorry. Daniel's voice was cold. What are you doing in my bed? She quickly sat up, pulling the blanket around herself, her eyes brimming with panic. I can explain. You better. There was a silence heavy enough to break glass. Then Daniel noticed something. Her hands were shaking, not slightly, violently, and her eyes weren't just tired, they were swollen, as if she had been crying for hours. Before she could answer, a soft voice echoed from the hallway. A daddy? Daniel turned instantly. Lily stood there, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Why are you shouting? Daniel softened immediately. Go back to bed, sweetheart. But Lily didn't move. She looked at Maria, then at her father. She's sick, Lily said quietly. Daniel blinked. What? Maria looked down. As she fainted in the kitchen, Lily continued. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't wake her up. Daniel's anger faltered. What do you mean fainted? Maria swallowed hard. Well, I didn't want to bother you on your trip, she whispered. I haven't been feeling well. I was cleaning and I got dizzy. Lily helped me upstairs because she said I looked cold. Daniel stared. Lily stepped forward. I put her in your bed because it's the softest one. Daniel's chest tightened. I didn't know where else to put her, Lily added softly. Maria wiped her eyes. I was going to leave before you came home. I swear. I passed out again. Daniel felt something shift inside him. He stepped closer now, not as an employer, not as a man guarding his territory, as someone seeing clearly for the first time. You should have told me you were sick. Maria hesitated. I can't afford to be sick. The words hung in the air. Daniel frowned. What does that mean? Maria looked at Lily, then back at Daniel. My son needs surgery, she whispered. Daniel felt the room tilt. What? He's 10. He has a heart condition. I worked double shifts at night cleaning offices to pay for his treatment. I didn't tell you because I was afraid you'd think I wasn't focused on this job. Daniel stared at her. All this time, he had seen her as help, as staff, as background, and here she was fighting a war he never even noticed. Lily walked over and held Maria's hand. She cries in the laundry room sometimes, Lily said quietly. Daniel's heart cracked open. The woman he thought had crossed a line had been crossing oceans of struggle alone. And suddenly he saw something else. On the nightstand, a small envelope. Daniel picked it up. It was addressed to him. He opened it slowly. Inside was Maria's resignation letter. She had planned to leave. Because she didn't want to be a burden, Daniel sat down slowly at the edge of the bed. For the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel angry. He felt ashamed. And that night would not end the way anyone expected. Daniel didn't sleep that night. Instead, he made tea for Maria, for Lily, for himself. They sat in the kitchen at 1:30 a.m. under the warm yellow light, and for the first time, they talked, not as employer and maid, as people, as people. Maria told him about her son Mateo, about the hospital bills, about selling her wedding ring after her husband left when the diagnosis came. Daniel listened, truly listened, and as she spoke, something began to gnaw at him. He thought about the nights he complained about exhaustion, about how he had assumed he carried the heaviest burden in the world, but Maria had been carrying hers silently while helping him carry his. Daniel stood up suddenly. Where is your son being treated? Maria blinked. A city general. Daniel grabbed his keys. I'll get your coat. She looked confused. Yes, sir. We're going to see him at 2:15 a.m. Daniel Harper walked into City General Hospital, not as a businessman, not as a widower, as a father. When he saw Mateo sleeping in a hospital bed, small chest rising unevenly, Daniel felt something he hadn't felt since the night his wife passed. Fear, but also clarity. No child should fight alone. The next morning, Daniel made calls, big calls. He contacted specialists. He moved funds. He arranged the best cardiologist in the state. When Maria found out what he had done, she broke down in tears. I can't repay you. Daniel shook his head. You already have. Weeks later, Mateo's surgery was successful. Lily visited him every weekend. She read him stories. They laughed together, and slowly, something beautiful formed. Not charity, not obligation. Family. Maria didn't resign. She didn't need to, because she wasn't of the Maid anymore. She was part of their home. Months later, Daniel stood in his bedroom again. But this time, he wasn't guarding it. He had finally changed the sheets that had remained untouched for years. He had finally allowed healing. Because that night, when he thought someone had crossed a line, he discovered instead that he had built too many. And sometimes the people we think are out of place in our lives are the very ones sent to remind us how to live again. Final message, strong, inspiring, close. We never truly know the battles someone is fighting behind quiet eyes. The person you overlook today might be the miracle in your story tomorrow. Sometimes it takes one unexpected moment, one misunderstanding, one door opened at the wrong time to reveal the right truth. And sometimes the greatest thing we can fix is our own heart.